Most folks are well aware that the world is a different place if you're over 60, and this also applies to how the travel industry handles old bodies, too, but not in an obvious way. Behind the scenes, airlines, hotels, and booking systems are profiling you with proprietary tricks that could change the way you see prices, sometimes even affecting what you see as you navigate a website. And the wild part? These systems are unknown by nearly anyone over 60. Today, we're revealing the insider secrets of travel that professionals hope you never learn about. The tactics that make all the difference between your trip feeling effortless or excruciating. These aren't basic travel tips. They are the hidden gears behind the curtain formulas and unspoken benefits that utterly transform how seniors interact with the world. And the final secret? It's not about money or planes or airports. It's something of a survival tactic to fend off travel frustration. What the most resilient senior travelers remind themselves of in the middle of a trip, anytime anything goes wrong. Let's dive in. Yet few travelers realize that airlines operate silent classification systems to rank how likely they believe every single passenger is to act out during a flight. But seniors, particularly those older than 60, belong to a group that airlines do monitor, not to assist them, but to manage risks and upsell comfort services and influence seat availability behind the scenes. Airlines have internal passenger type codes that never appear on your ticket, yet they determine everything about your trip. These codes predict likelihoods of mobility, delay, boarding time increase, and in-flight assistance required. The result? Elderly travelers get funneled into seats that help the airline's flow chart, not the passenger's backside. Even the online prices you see are influenced. The booking system logs details about the device you're using when you're browsing and how old you might be based on your search habits. Older travelers are frequently served up higher prices because the algorithm assumes you're less likely to comparison shop or notice rate fluctuations. Even more surprising, crew members are occasionally sent discreet notes about passengers identified as high-impact delays. Seniors are often placed on that list, and it affects how flight attendants handle boarding, service kicks, and seat flexibility. But profiling is just the start. For the next secret also highlights something airlines will never tell you. They know how your body responds to long-haul flying long before you board that plane. Most travelers over 60 think fatigue, stiffness, and mid-flight exhaustion are just part of getting older. But airlines know better. Behind closed doors, they use what insiders call the senior health algorithm, an internal prediction system designed to estimate how your body will respond to long flights. It's never publicly discussed, but flight crews are trained on it from day one. This algorithm tracks three things: age, flight duration, and cabin pressure cycles. Based on those factors, airlines quietly identified passengers who are more likely to experience circulation issues, dehydration, or severe fatigue during travel. They won't warn you directly. Doing so would create liability, but they silently adjust how often flight attendants check on certain rows and even which passengers get subtle priority attention. What the algorithm hides is simple. Your body isn't the problem. It's the environment. Cabin humidity drops to desert levels after the first hour, and oxygen levels shift just enough to trigger dizziness or swelling in seniors. To counter this, international crews follow a protocol they never share with passengers: microhydration every 25 minutes, alternating leg activation every 40 minutes, and controlled breathing cycles during takeoff to stabilize circulation. And here's the part airlines absolutely don't want you to know. Certain seat zones dramatically reduce the strain on your body. These zones fall in the pressure stabilized range, where cabin airflow and vibration levels stay more consistent. Seniors sitting in these rows experience up to 30% less fatigue. But airlines rarely recommend them because they reserve them for frequent flyers and internal crew families. But even if you master the health algorithm, there's a deeper travel secret waiting. Because once you step off the plane, the airport itself becomes a hidden maze with fast track systems most seniors never even hear about. The moment you enter the airport, an invisible system begins sorting passengers into categories that determine which lines they face, how long they wait, and how smoothly they reach the gate. Seniors actually qualify for multiple priority pathways, yet almost none of them are ever mentioned on your ticket or by airline staff. Airports use an internal code called Priority Mobility Handling. Unlike wheelchair service, this classification doesn't require a medical note and it doesn't mark you as needing assistance. Instead, it signals staff to quietly redirect you into faster lanes or guide you through alternate checkpoints used mostly by crew and premium passengers. Security screening has its own hidden method. Seniors flagged under this classification are often eligible for low-friction screening lanes with reduced bag checks and simplified procedures, but only if they know to ask for senior mobility clearance, a phrase that triggers access at major airports worldwide. Then there's the boarding advantage. Even without pre-boarding labels, seniors who mention reduced endurance or delayed gate time at the gate often get placed into an unofficial early boarding category used by staff when the flight is running behind schedule. But what happens once you finally reach the plane? That's when the real secret begins because airlines have a seat mapping strategy that can completely change your entire in-flight experience. Seat selection might seem random to most travelers, but there is data-driven mapping behind who sits where, especially seniors. Cabin pressure fluctuations, vibration zones, and areas with pockets of air all influence your level of comfort. But no airline will tell you which rows guarantee the smoothest ride. The front of the plane receives fewer bumps than any other place, according to Airzoradic's site, but it is actually the pressurized area somewhere between the midpoint of a wing and 1/3 forward on a flying surface. Elderly people sitting here experience reduced fatigue and motion sickness. Another is mapping the flow of service. Airlines teach flight crews to prioritize certain rows for quick checks between from flight to flight, generally near galley transition points or trump seats. Being seated within 5 rows of these sections gives you a greater probability of faster response times and better service. Seat availability itself can even be gained when the system detects an older user browsing for tickets. It denies them access to some of the most comfortable seats in order to goad them into upsells such as these for comfort and premium categories. But that's nothing compared to how much the travel industry rakes in from seniors. Because the biggest traps aren't physical, they're financial. The travel industry reaps billions from silent financial systems that penalize travelers over 60. Airlines and hotels employ age-linked dynamic pricing, wherein browsing habits that are ubiquitous among older people signal pricier fares since seniors, perceived as an easy mark for the nickel-and-dime crowd, tend to take longer to navigate a site and make fewer comparison checks. Even worse, older devices tablets in particular, so not to disturb consumers who pay these higher prices and use the company's highest services, tell the price algorithm it's okay to charge more since this person isn't someone likely to jump over to a platform. Costs can drop by as much as 18% simply by switching devices. The credit card companies also know that seniors pay more on unseen fees. Most cards quietly tack on a senior tier conversion margin when you make purchases abroad, charging 2 to 4% more than the going rate for no apparent reason. Then there is the loyalty trap. Older Americans are often loyal to one carrier or hotel chain for the points, unaware that dynamic pricing essentially devalues the worth of those points as people grow older. But by far, the greatest threats are not financial. They actually occur in digital shadows, and those most susceptible to them are older travelers. Traveling, seniors are ripe for the picking by hackers who troll airports, unguarded hotel Wi-Fi, and even airline apps in search of an easy target. It is becoming clearer that seniors are a target in more ways than one when it comes to the internet, said Lauren Vaughn, a spokeswoman for Avast, whose services include protection from hackers. Older users frequently depend on predictable email patterns, simple passwords, and unprotected devices, exactly what the hackers seek out. Even boarding passes carry shades of risks. Once you scan the barcode, the reservation numbers, last name, travel history, and sometimes partial passport information are set forth. And with these scraps, criminals can piece together a travel shadow profile to get into your bookings or impersonate you. Hotel networks are another vulnerability. A lot of seniors connect without using VPNs, leaving financial apps, email accounts, and perhaps even medical portals exposed. But those risks pale in comparison to the mental head game that dictates how seniors feel about their trips, because the last secret isn't technical at all.
The happiest senior travelers are not necessarily the ones who experience perfect flights, smooth itineraries, or no delays at all. They're the ones who utilize a state of mind that sees each setback as an opportunity, what I call the adaptive explorer mindset. Rather than fighting to stave off delay, they make interruptions into an unforeseen development in the story. Missed connection? They visit areas of the airport that most travelers do not see. Rainstorm ruins a tour? They transform it into a cafe-fueled exploration of local life. Lost luggage? They consider it a narrative that will outlive the journey itself. Studies showed that these seniors report significantly less stress, better sleep on the road, and in many cases, even more satisfaction, however things go. Travel doesn't get easier with age. But the experience becomes far richer when we come to it with curiosity rather than frustration, openness rather than rigidness, and presence rather than panic. Because every trial can turn into a trip if you're game. The travel world hides systems, codes, and strategies that shape every step of your journey, from pricing to seating to airport flow. But once you understand how these hidden mechanisms work, you stop traveling blindly and start traveling intelligently. Whether you use a smarter seat zone, protect your digital identity, or shift your mindset entirely, each change brings you closer to stress-free, empowered travel after 60. Which secret will you try first? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing how you travel smarter. And if this opened your eyes, hit like and subscribe. There are more untold senior travel secrets coming your way.